2 weeks ago, we had a look at how to finger crochet as I demonstrated my little wall hanging experiment. And although it started out really great and the finger crochet section had some wonderful texture, inspiration sort of led me in a different direction. And this is the wall hanging that I actually completed. So today I'll show you how to crochet and put together this wall hanging. It's super quick and easy, and it's perfect to dress up a bare spot on your wall. Well, that's all coming up next.
My name is Brittany, and I'm your guide to better crochet and knitting because I believe yarn does more than make pretty things. I craft because it occupies my hands and it calms my mind. I love the process, and something pretty is the result. I want that for you too. Here, we love yarn, we love to learn, and we truly believe yarn can do more for us than make pretty things.
All right, with your wool yarn, create a slip knot and place that loop on your 2 fingers. We're going to do a little finger crochet here. And situate your working yarn so it's underneath the hoop. I'm using a 14-inch embroidery hoop, by the way. I picked this up at Joann's, but I'm sure with a little modification, you could use the same pattern with other size hoops. You'll just have a different number of stitches here on this first part and the second part. So we're going to single crochet with our fingers for 16 total stitches to start off. So to do that, pull the working yarn under the loop, sort of pull up a loop, place that on your finger, then grab your working yarn and pull through both of those loops. Then just do this 15 more times, so you have a total of 16. Next, go ahead and start one more single crochet by pulling up a loop with your finger, but place those 2 loops on your crochet hook. So here I'm using my 10mm crochet hook. Now grab your Color Made Easy yarn, holding 2 strands together, create a slip knot, and then place that loop on your hook, and then pull it through those 2 loops. So we're completing that stitch with this new yarn. Now we'll continue by working 43 single crochets around the hoop. Now they do tend to twist a little bit here at the bottom, so that's completely normal if yours is doing it too. I usually just work a few and untwist them and keep going. When you have a total of 44 single crochets, go ahead and fasten off as usual. Next, we're going to start crocheting the little spiral. You'll need your Color Made Easy yarn holding 2 strands together and your 9mm crochet hook. Create your slip knot in chain 3 and make 7 half double crochets in the first chain. That chain 2 counts as a half double crochet, so at the end of this round you'll have a total of 8 stitches. Rather than join at the end of the round, we'll continue to work in spiral. So starting off round 2, we'll work a half double crochet in that second chain and then mark this new stitch with a stitch marker so you know that this is the first stitch of round 2. Then go ahead and make another half double crochet in the same space. Now continue with this repeat. Make 2 half double crochets in the back loop only of each stitch until you reach your marker. You'll have a total of 16 stitches. For round 3, make 1 half double crochet in the back loop only of your marked stitch, and then replace your stitch marker on this new one you just made. Then your repeat is to make 2 half double crochets in the back loop only of the next stitch, followed by 1 half double crochet in the back loop only of the next. When you make it around to your last stitch, make 2 half double crochets in the back loop of your last stitch and you'll have a total of 24 stitches. Now go ahead and remove your stitch marker. You won't use that anymore. Chain 2 and then turn your work. This chain 2 isn't counting as a stitch. We're just going to forget about it and go ahead and make a double crochet in the back loop only of the first stitch and in each of the next 44 stitches. Since the rounds are worked in a spiral, we didn't join at the end of each round, your double crochets will spiral here too. So there's no joining or anything like that. When you have 45 double crochets worked, you'll have 3 stitches remaining. 2 of those stitches make half double crochets, and in the last one, do a single crochet. Then fasten off, and with a darning needle, run that tail through the center of the spiral and sort of pull it tight so it gives it a nice shape, and weave in the end along the back side. Now that's all of the crochet that is involved in this wall hanging. We're going to do some tassels and some finishing touches next. So to start that off, make 40 cuts of your Stitchbird yarn that measure about 43 inches long, and then group them into sets of 8, and then add them as tassels to the first 5 wool yarn stitches using the front loop only. Next, make 5 cuts of the wool yarn that measure about 16 inches long, and then add them as tassels to the same 5 stitches, but using the back loop of those stitches. Trim the Stitchbird tassels at an angle sort of sloping upward, and then trim the wool yarn at the opposite angle. The last thing we'll do is make 10 cuts of Color Made Easy yarn that measure about 10 inches long, and we'll add them as tassels to the front loop of the 5 stitches on the other side of the spiral, so in that Color Made Easy yarn. And hang it up and trim these to match the angle of your wool yarn. That's all there is to it. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of B.Hooked, the place where we love yarn, we love to learn, and we truly believe yarn can do more for us than just make pretty things. Subscribe for continued progress, and I'll see you in the next one.